everyone, Draco Magnius here for another episode of Let's Play 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. In the last episode, we got the Reds working, or someone did, but then we couldn't find Snake, so we had to look for him. And unfortunately, it seems we're gonna have to leave him behind because we can't find him anywhere. So I guess we move on. There's a problem, though. Gotta figure out who's gonna go through which door.
Yes. I have a proposal.
She walked back and forth across the floor, her heels clicking against the wood. Finally, she stopped.
Why don't we decide on one person to sacrifice?
Whoa! What the fuck? Sacrifice?
Well, perhaps it's a bit harsh word, but yes. You've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams of 4 and 3 people respectively, then 3 people will be left behind. If we split into 2 teams of 5 and 2 people respectively, then 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into groups of 3 and leave 1 person behind, then only 1 person will be left behind.
Leaving behind 3 people with 2 teams of 4 and 3. Okay, let me think this through. We have 1 through 8. Clover is probably going to want to stay behind because we can't find her brother. Just throwing that out there as a fact. We have 3 doors to go through, and it needs to be 3 through 5. Or 3 through 8. We have 3 doors, a 3, a 7, and a blank door. Maybe Snake is in the blank door. No, I never thought about it. Well, back. I'm gonna say I'm not sure. Junpei wasn't quite sure that was true. Wait a minute. 2 people get left behind if we split into 5 and 2. And 1 person is left behind if we split into 3, 3, and 1. I got that part. You can't go through the number doors with any less than 3 people. But if we split into 4 and 3, then why do 3 people have to be left behind?
Just run the numbers. Let's say we go through door 7 with 1, 4, 5, and 6. Who's left over?
That'd be 3, 7, 8. What's the digital root for that? Math time. 9. Ah, yeah, she's right. They couldn't get through. 3 plus 7 plus 8 is 18. So add 1, and that 8 is 9. Wait. Why did they even give me the calculator if they're going to do all the arithmetic for me? Just throwing that out there.
Exactly. But door 9 isn't here, right? That means 3, 7, 8 won't be going anywhere. That was just an example, of course. There are a lot of different combinations, but the results will be the same. It doesn't matter which 4 it is. The 3 that are left over can't go through any of the doors. Go ahead and calculate it if you have the time. You'll see. Anyway, that's how it is. Now, if we can get back to my proposal...
Hang on. Now, there's too many variables to consider. I'll go with that point.
We only have to sacrifice 1 person if we split into 3, 3, and 1.
And that isn't really my point. My point is there's still the blank door without the number on it. What if Snake is back there? Then 7 spoke. His voice was strained.
Then... you're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind? Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logical and morally the best solution.
Yeah, none of those doors are 6. So if Snake is still back here, and we decide to ditch Clover, they're not getting through any of the doors. But, see what with 2 works. We leave behind... We could leave behind Ace. And if Snake is still around, he can make it through 3. And my battery's dying. I should fix this solution before we get screwed over. Okay. Whew, that was close. Alright.
If the other 6 are to survive, then one person has to sacrifice themselves. No, that's too cruel! What's so cruel about it? To just sacrifice someone like that? Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1? That's not what I meant. We shouldn't sacrifice anyone! I told you, that's impossible! Wake up!
Whoa, calm down, you 2. Santa stepped between Lotus and June. Look, what Lotus is trying to say is that you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right? I have to agree with her.
Exactly. That's how democracy works.
Democracy!
And for that reason, I think it's the only fair way to decide who will be sacrificed is through a vote. What do you think? No, that's terrible. I'm not asking you! Shut up! What about you, Santa?
Me? Well, I agree, I guess.
Alright, that's 1 vote for... Counting mine, that's 2. 7?
I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die.
Glad to see you get it. I can get 1 more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover?
Clover had moved away from the group and was sitting on one of the beds. Her whole body drooped. Junpei didn't know if she'd even heard Lotus's proposal. Lotus walked over to Clover and gently laid a hand on her shoulder.
Your brother has to be behind one of those numbered doors. The numbered doors. We searched everywhere, but we didn't find him.
He could be in the blank room. Just throwing that out there.
Doesn't that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow?
Clover slowly lifted her face.
Let's go look for him together, okay? If we sacrifice 1 person, then we can go look for him. You agree with me, right?
Clover nodded once.
The motion carries.
Lotus spun around and walked toward Junpei.
Now let's start a vote to...
That won't be necessary. Ace had barely spoken for Lotus's entire speech, and everyone jumped a little. 6 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. He didn't seem to notice, or even care. I will stay. That should solve our problem, yes? You're a good man, Ace. And also, this means he still has a chance to survive, like I just calculated. If Snake is somewhere back here, then they can get through the 3-door together. And this was all, like, pointless, but still, it would mean the highest rate of success.
Ace, what are you saying?
Also, he's the oldest of us, so... I mean, I'm sure he's happy with his life if he's willing to sacrifice it.
No, you can't do that! That won't solve anything!
June's voice shook, and she looked around desperately for someone to agree with her. Ace simply looked at her. June, I'm afraid you misunderstood me. I said I would stay, but I never said I would sacrifice myself.
Huh?
I trust you. Each and every one of you. I believe you'll come back for me. Whoa. There's optimistic, and then there's just nuts. Those doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them, you won't be able to return, correct? Yeah. True. But that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship. What? Please, I beg you. Once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally within the time limit Zero has given us.
No, that's ridiculous! There's no way we could get back in time!
Finally, Junpei could hold his tongue no longer.
We've only got 5 hours left! We don't even know where the hell we are! How on earth are we going to find someone to come and rescue you?
then perhaps you would prefer to stay instead of me? Or perhaps you would be willing to leave June behind. Ace's voice was dignified, and without a hint of cruelty or malice. Junpei had no rebuttal. You see, there's no other choice. Then I see we've come to our conclusion. Go on. Don't worry yourselves about me. Go quickly. Junpei stood froze by indecision, unable to move. Maybe it's because I'm a third party, but I don't understand why they're neglecting the blank door. And also the fact that Snake could come back and fix the problem. June bit her lip so hard Junpei feared she would break the skin. Santa stood against the wall, calm and aloof. Seven tore his beanie from his head and turned it over anxiously in his hands. Clover stared at Ace with an expression. With an expression? Care to share the expression? Oh, there's more. With an expression Junpei was unable to decipher. Lotus's attitude, however, was different from the others. Good. He's gonna supposedly sacrifice himself even though he doesn't see it that way, and you're just like, oh, great! This is fantastic for us! What a bitch! I need to do one more calculation. Okay. Ace is gone. Therefore, we cannot escape with Ace in that group. 5 and 6 is the optimal escape. If Clover comes with us, that does not work. 5, 4, 6, 8. Nope. 5, 6, 4, 7. 5, 6, 4, 3. That one works. I don't like Lotus, if you hadn't figured from my calculation there. I didn't include her often unless needed. I'm going to try and leave with 5, 6, 4, 3. Oh, actually, no. Because Clover will probably not leave without Snake. Though there is a chance that Snake has survived and he's going to be somewhere in the ship. I'll have to think about that deeper later.
Let's accept his kind offer, then.
She smiled, her eyes bright, even though they were closed. Ace answered with a smile of his own. Good. I think this is the best for me. Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. Perhaps it's my age, but I get tired so easily these days. As he spoke, Ace lowered himself down to the floor next to one of the beds. From somewhere deep in the ship, Junpei suddenly heard the screeching of metal on metal. It was almost as if the ship were screaming. Would it really hold until their time limit was up? Already, Deck D was flooded. Or D-Deck. In the sudden silence, the only sound was the sad metal wail of the ship. Unsurprisingly, it was Lotus who spoke first.
Well, what are you waiting for? We're wasting time. Why don't we hurry it up?
As if a spell had been broken, the others all began to talk at once. You're right, we should get going. That's all we can do right now.
7.
Seriously. Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of listening to you guys talk.
You too, Santa? I have to find my brother. Wait, all of you! Let's just calm down and think about this. There has to be a way to get everyone out. There has to be. Right, Jumpy? Say something.
Yeah, let's think. There's gotta be another way. His words sounded hollow and fake.
Fine! Forget about it! I'll figure it out on my own!
She spun around and ran towards Ace. He had slumped down next to the bed when June grabbed his arm and pulled.
Come on, Ace! Please stand up! You can't give up yet!
Another one for curiosity's sake. They could get through. Oh, wait, there is a 7 door. If the two of them stay, they can get through. Oh, no, wait, no, they can't because they need 3. Oh, so yeah, then my calculations with Snake is also irrelevant. Although, and nope. Oh, well, so there is no way for him to get through. My calculations are totally inept. Ace has to die. Unless we open that blank door.
Come on, Ace, please stand up. You can't give up yet. We just have to sit down together and think about this. We'll figure out a way that we can all get out of here.
Then it happened. Ace fell forward. He slumped over on the wooden floor, his body folded in half like a boxer out cold.
Ace!
June cried out and dropped to her knees beside him. She put her arm on his neck and did the best to lift him up.
What happened, Ace? Say something!
She shook him frantically. His eyes fluttered open. I'm all right. His voice was weak and slightly slurred.
How are you? Fine.
This... He held out his left arm and slowly opened his hand. It was a syringe and a small vial. The vial was empty. It had only been recently emptied. A few drops clung to the sides. There was a label taped on the side of the container. It read, Soporil Beta. Soporil Beta? Junpei had no idea what it meant, or what kind of medicine it might be.
Did you use this?
Yes. It's just anesthetic. I'll be fine.
Anesthetic?
I found it earlier while we were searching the hospital rooms. I thought it might be useful later. Ha! I didn't think I'd be using it on myself.
Why did you do this?
Didn't I tell you? I'd like to take a nap. I really am very tired. Junpei knew that wasn't what he'd done, why he'd done it. Ace had injected himself with an anesthetic to forestall Junpei and June's attempts to bring him along. If he couldn't move, there was nothing they could do. He'd injected himself so that they would be forced to leave him behind.
Ace.
Is there something you want to say? I'd just like to sleep a little. Could you keep it down?
No! Don't, Ace! Don't fall asleep!
You feel warm. So comfortable. I think I'll have a nice dream. Ace's eyelids drooped further and further, almost as though he were dying.
Ace! Ace!
She shook his shoulder again and again, but this time he didn't respond. Only the gentle rising and falling of his chest told them he was alive. Junpei was relieved to see he was, in fact, still breathing. He lifted Ace up off the floor and laid him on the bed he'd been leaning against. When Junpei turned around, Lotus gave him a look of pity. Well, we really don't have a choice now. We can't let his sacrifice go to waste, right? She wasn't feeling any remorse. Junpei was sure of that. Still, he held no grounds upon which to oppose her. It felt wrong, but he had to agree. Then suddenly Santa spoke. Yeah, but we're not done choosing yet, are we?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, we haven't decided who's going in what door.
Yes, that's true.
Well, enough of this screwing around. Let's decide. You first, Lotus. Which door do you want?
I want door number 8. It's the same number as my bracelet number.
Got it. You're 8. You're next, 7. Which one do you want? I'll take 7. I can't get along with that old lady. She's not really old, but I understand why you wouldn't...
What? What did you just say?
Her face distorted by rage, Lotus took a step towards 7. He threw up his hands and made a face like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Ugh! You're going to get it next time! She shot him a glare that would have melted steel, then turned and stalked off. Alright, who's next? Santa's gaze moved across the 3 people left. Finally, they stopped on Junpei. Junpei, which door do you want? At last. Junpei's mind was already made up. Okay, I need to do calculations. I want June with him at all costs. Nope. Nope. Wait, then which door are we going for? Because those are our only options, right? We could go with Lotus, 7, or Santa. Oh wait, that's not our only option. That's the only way to get 3 to work. If we go... Whoops. That won't work. Yeah, the only one we could really do is 3. I want to go through door number 3. No, you can't. Huh? Why? Because it's impossible. If we split ourselves into 3 and 3, then we give up on going through door 3. Why? Bracelet numbers for the 6 of us are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... I forgot about Clover. There are 2 combinations that can go through doors 3 with 3 people. 3, 4, 5. Or 6, 7, 8. That's it. Of course, 2 teams can't go through the same door. I see. That means 1 team would be left behind. That's right. That doesn't happen if we go through doors 7 or 8? No, they're fine. We've got 3 options. Santa began to explain. Plan A. Go through door 7 with 3, 5, 8. But Lotus said she wanted to go through door 8, but so that won't work. Go through door 8 with 4, 6, 7. Plan B. Go through door 7 with 4, 5, 7. And go through door 8 with 3, 6, 8. Okay. Plan C. Go through door 7 with 3, 6, 7. And go through door 8 with 4, 5, 8. Okay, let's see. Which of these is the best? I have to leave... It seems I can't have June and Junpei together for this one. And I'm going to get new people regardless of what I do. I could do totally new people, or I could stick with some of the people I've already had. Plan A leaves June with 7 and 4. And I have to go with Lotus, but that would be going through door 7. We try to keep her going where she wants to go. She has to go with Santa and Lotus, which they've already gone through a door like that before. But June and Lotus have some hostility going on right now, so I don't know if I want to do that. And I know they have to stay apart, 7 and 8. Lotus and 7, so let's see. I guess plan C is pretty good. It has Santa with 7 and June, but I'm stuck going with Lotus. Not sure on this one. I'm gonna have to think this through a bit more. You know what? I think I will go with Plan C. Because that leaves June with Santa and 7. And it has a new mix-up going on. And I know Santa will look after June because they've been friends already. They've been friendly and been in a group together. It's not that I don't trust 7 at all. It's just that, he's a new person and I don't want a totally new group together. I want to keep a good balance between the groups. Of people that have been in a group together and people that haven't been in a group together. Also, that fan art of 4 that I saw has me a little wary of her, and the fact she's missing her brother might make her do something erratic. So, I don't want her to be around anyone she could potentially hurt too bad, unless it's me, because I might be able to do something about it. So I guess Plan C is what we're going with. Those are the only 3 options. That's it. At least if we want to get all 6 of us out of here. That was when Junpei realized. Plan A divides into 2 teams. 358 and 468. 7. Plan B divides into 2 teams. 457 and 368. Plan C divides into 2 teams. 367 and 458. There was one thing they all had in common. In every single combination, 5 and 6 were never on the same team. In other words, if all 6 people were to move forward, Junpei and June would be separated. June and Junpei had been friends since they were kids, but had only just reunited after not seeing each other in elementary school, I might add. Just throwing that out there. He trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. If he chose 7 or 8, he'd be taken away from her. Was that something he was prepared to do? Well, he doesn't really have a choice, so... Anyway, that's the deal. So think it over. You've got 2 choices, 7 or 8. You can't choose 3. If you choose 3, you're gonna be leaving 3 people behind to die. So what are you gonna do? 7 or 8, time to choose. Junpei thought hard. After thinking it over, his conclusion was... take the risk of choosing door 3. We don't know how long Ace is going to be out. Yeah, we would have to stay behind with Ace, both me and June, for that to work. Am I willing to do that? Ace said he was going to sacrifice himself. We have to find some way to save him after this is all said and done. If we stay behind with him and then go through 3, we'll have a lot of time lagging behind, and there's a chance we could doom everyone on the ship if they wait for us. And they probably won't, considering. So the best option is to go through door 8. I understand. I guess I don't have a choice then. Alright, I choose door 8. Okay, 8 it is. Yeah. Alright then, that means June's gotta go through 7. Huh? Why? June's face was blank and confused. Santa muttered to himself, then turned to Junpei. Junpei, you figured it out, right? You can explain it to her. Junpei chose his words carefully. When Junpei finally finished, June looked as though she was about to cry. Oh no. You're saying we aren't going to see each other again for a long time? Junpei felt as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile. Hey, come on, you're making it sound like we're never going to see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like we went into the 4 and 5 doors, right? Remember? We may be apart, but we'll never forget each other. Sorry, had to drop a Kingdom Hearts reference. We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably?
She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected. I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't connect, neither team can get through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9th door. June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to see each other again. I promise. June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod, sorry.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment. You guys are done, right? Smooth. He stretched and continued. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go in separate rooms. I figure I'll take 7, and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover? Clover looked away and was silent for a moment. Although, since she made the connection with Lotus, this is also an optimal pairing because the two of them are going to look for her brother, in theory, in the rooms past.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care. Alright, we're ready to go then. Let's move. At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7, and June walked through door number 7, while Clover, Lotus, and Junpei headed for door number 8. For a long moment they stood in front of the door. Then Lotus lay her hand against her chest and turned to Junpei and Clover.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then shall we go? No sliding doors this time. The door had opened. A narrow hallway stretched out before them. Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonator in the bracelet had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, toward door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. And then the door closed and crushed them both. The end. I'm sorry I had to. It's a dark, dark joke, but I couldn't resist. I had to lighten the mood somehow. This is getting abysmal. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met. They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds. Then someone took hold of Junpei's arm and hauled him bodily through the door. Probably Lotus. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep. 81 seconds left! Hurry! Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead. Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could. It stopped. With a shaking hand, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm, aloof perhaps.
Pointless,
she muttered to herself without emotion, and began to walk down the hallway, leaving behind a confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girls receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity. What an unpleasant girl. I bet she's not very popular with the boys. Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting that was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed. And with that, I think we're going to end this episode here. See you guys in the next one.